Hello, Jane. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thanks.
Good stuff. Lovely to see you. And hello, Dan. How are you doing, pal?
Hi, mate.
Do you know what, mate? I said it about Jane. Meet Dan. Dan's from a podcast and website called Clarets Blue, so he's a Burnley fan. So bless your socks for coming on, mate. Bless you. Dan, meet. Obviously, I'll have a chat to the lad called Lee coming on in a minute. But Jane, lovely to see you. Jane, it's quite nice to have you on because it's quite odd to find someone that talks more sense than our admin team. So I thought we needed to have you on to have a chat to you.
Thank you.
So what do you think of the game tonight, Jane?
Well, I'm one of those City fans who always have an element of everything could be so right and still go so wrong.
Yeah.
So I always have a lot of anxiety about whether we could actually come through. And when Burnley started off so well, I was thinking, you've got a lot of the ball, you're making progress against us. And then I'm thinking, well, is it going to be our day? Don't really want to hand the Premiership title to Liverpool just too easily. So yeah, good game. Good game.
We need to talk about the Burnley side. So thanks very much for coming on, Dan. Like I mentioned before, pal, it's lovely to see you. Had some great responses from your chat before. But come on, pal, what was the game like in your eyes?
I think the first half an hour wasn't so bad. Kept the ball well and probably restricted City to few chances in terms of what we were expecting. But I think once that third goal went in, obviously the heads drop, and from then on, there's an absolute mountain to climb. And I think obviously in the second half as well, we saw the lack of options Starch had to bring on. We spoke about obviously Hendrick and Bardsley might not be available, and they were both missing, so it looks like they are on the way out. It looks like that's going to be an issue for us now for the rest of the season, really.
What's your expectation for the upcoming games for you then?
Well, we've got Watford and Crystal Palace next, so hopefully we can pick up some points from those games. But I think it's tough to call at the minute because we need to see how obviously the squad reacts to the lack of players we've got available. Hopefully we can get a couple of our injured players back as well. But yeah, I mean, playing a team like City, first game back was always going to be such a challenge. The way they use the ball so well, the quality they've got. So I think the season for us really starts in our next game.
Yeah. I said that to you before, didn't I? So we've had the luck of having one more game to be a bit more match fit before you, and with City's squad the way it is, you're always uphill struggle. Lee, what was your thanks for joining us, Lee. By the way, it's nice to see you again.
See you all, guys.
You talked a bit of sense last time I spoke to you, so I thought we better get you on again, which is always good. It seemed to get to a point of tonight's match where with 20-25 minutes to go, City just seemed to be stepping down gears and just passing the ball between our defence and midfield. Did you get a feeling that third goal, like Dan said, was the killer one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we do the same thing. I think we go 2-3 goals up and then take the gas off a bit. I think part of that's probably fitness as well. We're trying to, got the win. So we've got the win. You'd like to think we've got the win at that stage. But I think just passing it about, get the breath back, and if it's just a slow way of warming into it a bit and get them on the break, getting over a couple of goals. So.
Dan, can I get your idea from a Burnley perspective? Because I'm watching Phil Foden progress as a young man into an adult, into a dad, into hopefully a full team City regular very, very, very soon. He seems like a fantastic prospect. What's your opinion of Foden from a Burnley perspective?
Yeah, I think from obviously an outsider kind of looking in on the team, he's obviously someone who's got tremendous potential. I think with Silva obviously leaving, you'd expect him to step up now and fill that role and obviously get a lot more game time. So I think it's exciting from an England point of view, and hopefully he can develop into someone that can obviously contribute in the coming tournaments and things like that.
Absolutely. Jane, from your point of view with Phil, how do you think he got on tonight? Do you think he deserved man of the match?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's interesting because I think it was earlier last season, when he first started playing, coming on for a few minutes in the games, and there was lots of talk about maybe he should be loaned out somewhere else to get more experience. And thank goodness that he wasn't, because he's really doing the business for us.
Yeah, Pep certainly knew how to manage him in that situation, didn't he? And he's certainly seen. Yeah. He just seems so much of a. He just seems so. I don't know what it is. It's funny. I didn't see him smile that much today. I didn't see him smile that much. Usually when he plays, he smiles. He seemed more focused of the game today, which is quite worrying for the opposition, because obviously a focused Phil Foden is going to just keep getting better and better, isn't it? Lee, what are you expecting the starting lineup for City to be against Chelsea in a couple of days? Are you expecting Phil to start?
I expect Foden to start. I think it'll be completely different to what we had today, because that's how he rolls, and he changes it week in, week out. As I said last week, it's such a hard prediction to make, what the lineup is going to make. I think you've got to go attacking against them, without a doubt. So I think, I think we'll see Foden, definitely. Hopefully Sane won't start, because I think he's upset a lot of people, to say the least. When he come on today, I was heartbroken when he come off, and then Sane come on, Foden come off, and Sane come on. I was thinking, give him a chance to get his hat-trick. You know what I mean? Some don't want to be there. That wound me up a bit, but so I think we'll go attacking. I'd like to see Aguero start with Jesus. Personally, I always like the old 4-4-2, matter who you're playing. So I'd have them two up top if it was me. I think we definitely need a stronger defence line-up though, if against Chelsea, because I think they'll punish us if we have that same defence.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Gundogan playing. I know he's not everyone's favourite player, but he seems to be able to hold a linchpin. You can stop laughing, Dan. Not you, mate. Even this one, laughing at me playing Gundogan. He just, I don't know how you think, Jane, from a Gundogan perspective, but he seems to play the bigger games when needed.
Yeah, he can be a bit hit and miss, can't he?
I think Dan.
So sometimes he performs, and sometimes he doesn't.
We'll go with the doesn't side of it, Jane.
I've always thought Gundogan goes under the radar a little bit when he plays. He does a lot you don't really see, because he's not scoring the goals necessarily or making the assists. He does a lot of work in between. Like you say, he does have a lot of games where you watch him and you think, what's he doing? But no, I think I quite like Gundogan. I must admit, when he comes on, he's something a bit different, doesn't he? But that said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Burnley, Dan, for me watching, I think you're spot on after the 30 minutes or so. But after that, when we started scoring, Burnley just didn't look at the races at all. And we certainly seemed to punish you. There's no end there. If you were gonna have this time again, if you were Sean Dyche, do you think you would have done anything differently to the formation that he played? Because you always think that's the thing with Burnley. You always seem to be very strict, very regimented. Whenever you see, you always seem to be straight lines. Is there anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, I think probably in hindsight, it would have been better to start with just one striker. I can understand why he went with the two, because obviously, like I said, the lack of options before. But I think probably taking Rodriguez off as well instead of Vidra was an interesting decision. Maybe there was an injury involved. Obviously, we don't know the full story, but I think Rodriguez will give you much more of that hold-up play that Vidra struggles with. But yeah, I think obviously the majority of it was just kind of out of Dyche's hands, really, like we said, with the lack of options he had. And I think it was just a bit of bad timing, really, that, to be in this position, first game back against a team like Man City. I think it all kind of played against him, really, in that situation.
It's a tough one, this, pal, because I saw a pretty damning stat before, and I'm just going to bring it up now. In tonight's match, City's bench had a transfer market worth of £500 million. Burnley's was 6.4 million. You're always up against it there, pal, aren't you?
Yeah,
that says an awful lot.
I think I saw that. Obviously, we only named 7 of the 9 subs, and I think 5 of the 7 had never played for the club before as well.
Wow,
which
really?
is, obviously 2 were goalkeepers as well, which was pretty interesting.
Bless you. Well, we've all got a lot of love for Burnley. I certainly have. I know people who are Burnley fans, so we've got a lot of love for you from that side of thing. Not just because we took 3 points after that, obviously. One thing I think we can all agree on was that banner going above the stadium does not represent the Burnley fan. I know it was terrible. What do you make of that?
Well, yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, actually, because I did want to kind of address that I mean, just looking at my Twitter feed, the vast majority of Burnley fans are disgusted by that. It does not represent, the views of the fan base, and I think it's really, really sad to see, because it's a couple of idiots, potentially tarnishing the reputation of a whole fan base. And I think it's just, I mean, the club have put a statement out saying they're going to, I think actually as the game was going on, they put the statement out saying
they're really quick about getting
saying that they're going to obviously investigate it and issue lifetime bans if they can get to the bottom of it. So that is fantastic to see. And obviously just hope they can get to the bottom of it as quickly as possible.
No, just to reiterate, within, I think it was about 16, 17 minutes of it being out there, the comms team had this out straight away. Burnley Football Club strongly condemns the actions of those responsible for the aircraft and offensive banner that flew over the Etihad Stadium on Monday evening. We wish to make it clear that those responsible are not welcome to Earth Moor. This in no way represents Burnley Football Club for what Burnley Football Club stands for. We will fully work with the authority to identify those responsible and issue lifetime bans. And it goes on and on and on. But it's a big shame that, because the problem you've got is you still have morons looking at Burnley now thinking racist club, this and that.
Yeah.
They don't see behind the pitch. They just see one more. The thing is, someone's hired a plane. Someone's had the banner made. So, there's two trains of thought thinking there that, the professional companies where you fly planes, professional companies that make these banners, this is going to be easy to find the people that have made this.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I mean, it's absolutely baffling that it's even been able to happen, but like you say, it should be hopefully fairly simple and getting to the bottom of it and hopefully getting it sorted out as quickly as they can.
Bonkers. Right, so what's next for Burnley then? We'll love you and leave you, mate, because I bet you just want to get a drink and go to bed, don't you? So last question. Well, what's next for Burnley then?
Well, we've got, I think, Watford on Thursday. First game at Turf Moor. I know obviously there's not much of a home benefit now with the empty stadiums, but I think it will be nice to just get back to obviously where we're familiar, and hopefully we can learn from the experiences tonight. We'll have a bit of running in the legs now, so hopefully it'll be a bit better, and hopefully we can get back to winning ways.
Good man. Right, we'll let you go. We'll love you and leave you. Thanks so much for your time, pal. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, man. Have a good one, pal.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, mate.
So Blues, Phil Foden's been interviewed, and that was my best game as in a City shirt. Things I love to see. God, he's just going to get better and better, isn't he? We're so lucky to see Phil at his age now coming through. Jane, what's your thoughts on his future? It's got to be bright, hasn't it? There's no other way for this.
I think he's a young lad who is an absolutely committed Blue, and I hope that he's going to stay with us for a long time.
Yeah, and he is generally a Blue as well as a City fan. That's mental. It's crazy. I know. Yeah. I don't know if you guys were listening to our live stream, but I said to Dan when Foden scored that long ranger, it reminded me of a Gerrard-esque type goal. Long range, pinpoint position, back of the net. If Foden can go on to be a player like Gerrard, we've got a future captain on our hands there who's going to just do great things for us, aren't we? Lee, what's your thoughts on building a team around Foden for the future?
Yeah, I absolutely love Foden. I must admit, he's one of my top favourite players at the minute. I think, like you say, he's going to be the David Silva of the future, and you think leader. I think, like you say, captain material. You can tell as well his head's in. He's not, when he scored that goal early, you can tell he wasn't jumping around really overexcited. Yeah. First thing he thought was, "Ref, why won't that fail back there?" So he's quite level-headed, and he runs a bit like Aguero, that sort of thing. So he's like that. If he scores a goal, he'd rather. Do you know what I mean? Like something's happened in the build-up, he'll go back to the rep rather than, do you know what I mean, get stupid celebrating and all the rest of it. But he seems quite a mature player. He thinks like a mature player.
No, absolutely. Dan Fielding, you picked it up, didn't you? When they started kick off again, he was like, "Come on," to himself, having a little chat to himself, like pumping himself up again.
Yeah, he's exactly what Lou said. He seems to have a bit of a drive about him now, and I think that 3 months of just being, I've got as far as to say, just being a father has really matured him, and I think he's more level-headed now. And I mean, I was saying, obviously, when we first started the live podcast, when the game kicked off, he was very mature in the way he's handled being from an 18-year-old in arguably one of the greatest Premier League teams there's ever been. Just being patient not thinking he's getting all this hype, he's got all this potential, not letting it get to his head like a Sancho, thinking I want to go play, I'm bigger than this, I need to be playing. He bought his time and he's starting to prove it, and he's about to take over from arguably one of the greatest City players ever to wear the shirt. Can't ask much more, can you?
He's not a bad teacher, is he?
No, very true, very true.
He's I just, you know what, it's a funny one with Pep, isn't it? Because we don't really know how long he's going to stay for. He's not going to have the dynasty like Ferguson had and then over the road, but he's, you know, if he can stay for another couple of years, how many other Foden type players are going to come through that academy that need that tutelage from Pep? And it's worrying really, because we've got the Euros around the corner, haven't we? Next obviously been pushed back to next season. Phil's got to be on that plane, hasn't he, Jane? You've got to think he's got to be one
yeah, absolutely, definitely.
It's bonkers. Lee, what's your thoughts with Phil's chance for next year with England? Or do you not care? You're just thinking about City at the minute, sodding
As long as I don't get injured, I'll be happy. But I think the delay in the Euros has done him a massive favour, because he's got another year now.
Yeah.
To get noticed, get playing, and then he's going to get like, we'll get him in the team. He's looking quite good now. But I think if it was the Euros this year, I think he'd have missed out again, because he's not getting the game time. He's obviously class, but he's not like well known enough, if you like. But I think the Euro ban, or the Euro extension for the year, I think that's going to do him a world of good, because I can't see anybody else getting to what level he's going to be at this time next year that will go instead of him.
Yeah, no, you're spot on there. One player I want to talk about tonight is Mahrez. I'm a bit disappointed he came off, because I wanted him to get his hat-trick. Same for Foden, actually. I wanted Foden to get his hat-trick. So Pep's got this knack of pulling people off in the pomp, hasn't he? But there was a point where, for Mahrez's goal, Fernandinho pinged what looked like a 70-yard pass right across the pitch to Mahrez's control, first touch. Absolutely perfect, and obviously buried it with his right foot, which Dan obviously mentioned with it being a left footer. It's a cracking finish.
Yeah, whole time he started using his right foot.
Yeah, he's spot on there, pal. Jane, what's your thoughts on Mahrez? Are you a fan of his? Do you think you can?
No, not really.
Tell me what you think.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes he's not really performed to his, to what he's been made up to be, if you like. So it was good to see him, his game today.
Yeah.
I guess I'm more of an Aguero fan than a Mahrez fan.
You can love more than one City player, Jane.
I do.
You're allowed to.
As long as it's not Cancelo.
Yeah. I still love Joe Hart, if it's any consolation. Let's bring him back as our second keeper. He'll be fine. We don't need him now. I don't want him.
Oh, bless him. Mahrez on his day can beat absolutely anybody, and scored a world class goal. On other days, it'll go out to Rosed, and he could have made a pass and just an easier pass. So, I know what your thoughts there. Lee, who was the standout player that wasn't Phil Foden today for you? Did anyone else jump out to you that thought they had a really good game?
Yeah, controversially, Mahrez. I'll put my hands up. I'm the first person to criticise him when he does wrong, because he frustrates the life out of me at times. But I've got to say, tonight he looked like a reborn player tonight. Passes were good, decisions were good. When he scored his goal, when he cut back in, I thought, here we go. He's cut back in left. He's going to have a shot. It's going to go over the bar. Then he cut back the other way. I was like, maybe not, something new. Then next thing you know, he scored the goal. So, yeah, I think if he played like that every week in, week out, he'd lose the haters a little bit, I think. But
yeah,
like you say, next week, he's the sort of player that next week will come back and he'll be shocking. But
if he played like that every week, then I could love him.
Yeah.
What did you?
Aguero's going to get jealous now.
What did you think of Otamendi's performance tonight?
Well, Steve, now I am actually a fan of Otamendi, even though he can really screw things up.
I thought you might be.
But yeah, I think he had a good game today. No, he wasn't particularly challenged, was he? But
well, no. Yeah, he had a bit more of a solid game.
I think every time he, can't think who it was, going up the wing, he sort of slipped and lost him, didn't he? But I think he recovered well, I think. But that's the only real downside I thought of his game today. I thought he had, like I say, he didn't have much of a challenge, but yeah, not bad overall performance, I don't think, from him.
Yeah.
sticking with the centre-back position, me and Tom were having a discussion earlier on the live. What are your thoughts on where Fernandinho will be next season? Is his position centre-back for the remainder of his time at City, or do you reckon he'll still, once we get the centre-back situation sorted out, will he challenge Rodri, or is Gundogan and Rodri the main men in that holding mid for you two?
I'd definitely put him there in front of Gundogan. If I have the choice out the two.
You're on par with me, mate. Thank God someone else is thinking like.
But yeah, I think it needs to get a proper centre back, not a midfielder playing centre back, because he's been cracking. Don't get me wrong, he saved us, to be fair, the last couple of seasons. But I just think we need that company style figure at the back there that leads from the back, and I'd then push him forward into a sort of defensive midfielder, sort of a De Jong type, if you like, how he used to play for us.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see him, De Jong.
I love De Jong. Jane, what's your thoughts on seeing Leroy back in his blue shirt?
Well, I know it's quite sort of controversial that, if he doesn't really want to play for us anymore, then he shouldn't and should go. But actually, we've also paid a lot of money for him, and we've still got another year of his contract. So actually, we ought to get our money's worth.
I agree with you. I can't. At the start of the game, and a few days ago when I saw that he wanted to leave, in my mind, it's right. Reserves, play Braff, sell him, get some money for him, play the youngsters, get him in for it. But then, in hindsight, we've still got next season's worth of Leroy Sané to play, and I would rather him play with us than against us every day of the week. And I still think, as long as he's still got his pace and he's still got his confidence after such a horrific injury, then I'd rather him play for us than against us at this moment. So I'm kind of turning my mindset against this at the moment. Because he's going to play, he's going to give 100% because we're paying his wages, aren't we? And he wants to do well. The only thing is there going to be that niggle in the back of his mind about getting injured again? And what do you think, Lee? Where would your head be at in this situation?
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because for all we know, if he got regular football, he could learn to love it again. And do you know what I mean? Then talk about an extension of contract, so you don't know, do you? But I must admit, when he was coming off the bench, I think I was fine. So I see Foden coming off, and that was a little bit like, well, somebody who plays his heart out. It's his dream being there. He loves being there. For someone that don't want to be there, it kind of didn't go right in my head a little bit. But like you say, he's getting paid to do a job. If I was moving jobs next year and I started not performing, I'd get sacked. So do you know what I mean? So I think he's got to carry on playing to the best of his ability. And like I say, I think he will, because he is a worker, and I suppose he's not going to want Bayern Munich or wherever he wants to go to look at him not playing well and his attitude dropping, because that's going to put them off a little bit. So I think, like I say, I wouldn't start him. I think that's what I wouldn't do. It'd be a bit of a bring him on in the second half. We need a bit of pace, sort of thing. But I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, like I say, it's got to keep a sort of an even playing field, isn't it, with it all.
I think it would be useful to understand why he wants to go somewhere else. Is it that something isn't right for him at City, and whether that's he doesn't feel that he gets he's going to get the games, or he doesn't think that he gets on with Pep or Pep's style of management, or is there that he just wants to get back over into mainland Europe?
He wants to play for Germany. Yeah, it's really it'd be nice to know, actually, wouldn't it? It would make us feel better. If it's a family thing and he wants to go back home, come out and say it.
Yeah, so as a German player, I suppose it's the same, isn't it? Like, as a German footballer, I suppose Bayern Munich's sort of the pinnacle that you want to get to, isn't it? I suppose, because they're like the best in your own country.
And does that mean he gets a better shot at playing for his country?
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, good shout, actually. We saw Sergio go down tonight in quite some discomfort. The reports are there was discomfort in the knee area, but it wasn't essentially a bad area to get an injury, if that makes sense. So there's promising signs there that he's not going to be a long-term injury. But
he was sort of rubbing at his knee prior to that incident, wasn't he?
Dan noticed that. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Didn't he, pal?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping one of you three can back me up. Was that the same left knee that he'd had trouble with in the previous seasons?
Not sure.
Oh, no, I'm not sure.
He's had surgery on one of his knees, and it never really set Right. Well, yeah, we've all had trouble with our knees, yeah, without a doubt. But,
Not because you've got your head in your hands and you're on your knees watching City play.
the
Generally
amount of
speaking.
times we've all done that.
Well, let's hope he's fighting fit very soon, because obviously we've got a big couple of fixtures coming up, haven't we? We've got obviously Chelsea, we've got Newcastle in the cup. The cup for me has got to be the main target for it. I think I mentioned this to Lee the other day, didn't I? That for me, the Premier League's all well and good, but I want to win a trophy this year. The best chance is the FA Cup, then the Champions League, then the Premier League, which is a very slim chance, as we all know. So let's get everyone fighting fit for those games coming up. And yeah, has anyone else got anything to add before we all hit the sacks?
Yes, I want to get Lee's and Jane's opinions to put the matter to bed between me and Tom. Cancelo, yay or nay?
It's not as easy as that.
No.
It is. It really is.
He's only played 10 games, 11 games.
What's he done in them 10 games? We're talking about a 60 million fullback here.
Yeah.
He's another one of them, and he's...
Bring back Vinny, I say.
What, for fullback?
Well, wherever.
He blows hot and cold, doesn't he? I think, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's the same. Give him a bit more of a chance, and I think the problem with our defence is none of them get regular week in, week out, because he's chopping and changing it every week. They can't really bond as a sort of a unit at the back. I think that's a lot of what's troubling the defence at the minute. Because you've got Otamendi there one week, you've got Cancelo there, you've got players playing out of position, and I think you need that 4 sort of main guys that you're going to use as your base, so they can get to work with each other regularly, week in, week out. And then if you need to change one, it should work better, I think. But it's that consistency that they miss, I think.
Yeah. And last one from me, Zinchenko. Me and Tom were having this argument. Tom doesn't see him being a midfield man. Would you like to see him having a chance in midfield? Because I honestly, I brought up the argument of Ukraine. Tom hasn't really seen much of the Ukraine play. Zinchenko plays a big role in that Ukraine midfield. He plays it very well. Tom did make the argument that it was a very good player in an awful team. Can Zinchenko maybe make a mark for himself?
I don't see why not, to be fair. I think, he's got the old left foot swing, and he can get the crosses in quite well. So, he scores a few goals, and he gets in the right position. But, yeah, I wouldn't be against it, to be fair.
I wouldn't mind seeing him try for that.
What about left wing? I made the argument that he's had the experience now for 3 seasons now on the left back position. Him and Mendy may be able to play well together. Both experienced fullbacks, you have to say now. Could you see him maybe, even if as a reserve player, if we sign a main left winger, keep Raz on the right wing alongside Mahrez and bring Bernardo in more centrally, maybe Zinchenko could be a fallback left winger?
Good work.
Do you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt this, but I've just seen a fantastic stat. In the last 19 games Laporte has featured in, City have only conceded 1 goal from open play. That's mental. That's a hell of a stat. We just need another 3 of him, don't we?
Yeah.
No, we won't be having this argument. Right, we're going to love you and leave you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. What is it now? It's nearly 10:30. A good 5-0 win against Burnley. Bring on Chelsea. What score predictions before we go? Score predictions. Jane, what are we going for against Chelsea?
2-1 to Chelsea.
Oh, my husband says 2-1 to Chelsea. Oh, he's not
right, okay. That's divorced.
I'd love to know who he supports.
He supports Aldershot Town.
Aldershot? I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. What division are they in again?
The National League.
National League. Yeah. It's a local team.
Good man. Support your local team. That's what I like to see. So about you, Jane? Ignore the husband. He's obviously been drinking.
Yeah. I think it could be quite tight. I think maybe a 3-2, but
okay. Good 3-2. I like. Yeah. Okay. I like Lampard's Chelsea, so I'm expecting a.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I like Lampard.
I'm going to go 2-1 City, De Bruyne and Aguero. I think he'll be back.
Close game. Dan?
Yeah.
Don't do it, Dan.
Well, you know me. Right. Lee and Jane, I have an act of making some extraordinary scoreline predictions of like 6 to 8 nils. And the one time I didn't do it beginning of the season was Watford. I said like 2-0. We won 8-0. And tonight I said 1-0. Completely against my game. So I'm going to go with 5-1. No, 6-1. Sorry, 6-1.
6-1. Right.
I'll take that.
Okay. I'm gonna go for 1-0 to City.
Scorer.
Yeah. Right. Scorer. Gundogan. There you go.
Oh, I'm gone.
Right. Love you and leave you, Blues. Have a lovely evening. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye bye.
Take care, Blues.
Bye.
All the best.